we are a club that's just not run properly. I mean, for the caliber of a club we are, the establishment that we have, the fans, the stadium, training facilities, all the resources, money, great manager now. We've got some high caliber players as well. But from the hierarchical point of view, we're just not run as a proper football club. Yeah. Look at Liverpool making it to the Carabao Cup final without Salah, Mane. We need a lot of learning. We have a lot of learning to do, and it better start very soon.
All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
Welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get into the conversation today, the particular topic that I want to talk about, which is I just have this bad vibe with Chelsea Football Club at the moment. I just feel like something's definitely brewing inside. If more bad results come our way, we're going to get into old habits. And there's a really good article. It's not something that I agree with. This particular journalist is not someone that I agree with a lot, but he's come up with a particular article in the last 12 to 24 hours, Matt Law, and he talks about a lot of truth. And we need to understand, there's still a lot of opinions there, a lot of stuff that he's assuming, but still there are certain things that hold a lot of importance to the wider picture of this particular situation. And we'll, of course, talk about the fact that Chelsea is going to play Liverpool in the Carabao Cup final. So that's going to be quite exciting. In all honesty, I probably wanted to face Liverpool if I'm being absolutely honest about the situation. I don't know, for something about Arsenal, especially when it comes to finals, I feel a bit strange facing them. But Liverpool is someone I'm okay to face them. I'm okay to face them, and I really want to face them. It's not going to be easy, but we'll talk about all of that. First of all, I want to talk about the reason why I feel a little bit sick inside, that gut feeling, that bad vibes, and I'll tell you why. Matt Law just produced an article not that long ago, as I said, in the last 24 hours, talking about how Chelsea really need to, stop this cancel culture, getting rid of managers, buying a whole heap of players for these managers, and then the new manager comes in and they're stuck with all these old players that fit different philosophies. And he was trying to compare that with City and Liverpool and the reason why they've been so dominant in the league, not just because Pep and Klopp have been around for a little while, but they've been around because they've been successful and they've been given all the authority by their football club. In our football club, the manager doesn't seem to have all the authority. And yes, we've been winning the cups here and there, obviously the Champions League, the Europa League. Now we're in the Carabao Cup final, we were in the FA Cup final. But in order to win the league, which is very difficult over a 38-match span, there's a lot of factors that need to be correct. And Matt Law goes around talking about how City, as soon as Pep came in, he was given the opportunity to get rid of all the players that simply didn't fit. The likes of Clichy, Sanya, Fernando, Manganga, many other players he talks about in the list, and recently, obviously, Ferran Torres as well. As soon as there's something wrong or there's something that just doesn't click with a particular player, they move on. And similarly with Klopp as well, with Liverpool, their clubs, their respective clubs, have believed their gaffer from all levels. They understand the philosophy, they understand the ideology their gaffer is trying to implement in the football club, and then they go from there. Then they speak to their hierarchies in terms of scouts, in terms of the sporting directors, and they are all in sync. We, on the other hand, we bought players like Jorginho under Sarri, which was specific for Sarri. Then Lampard came in and Jorginho was not a fit. And this is just an example that I'm providing. Then Lampard comes in and gets players like Werner, Kai Havertz, Ziyech, whole heap of madness. Tuchel comes in, yeah, he got the best out of Jorginho, but it's still not the right fit all the time. And then on top of that, Werner, Kai Havertz, it simply doesn't fit the way he's trying to play with the three at the back and the wing back situation. He needs wing backs, for example, Tuchel. He needs wing backs and wide forwards. And now we're again in this situation where we're in the league, December, January, once again, it's been very, very difficult, not just, in terms of injuries and the pandemic, players testing positive, and also the fact that Romelu Lukaku and the madness of an interview that he did. Obviously, Thomas Tuchel faced a lot of adversity. But we're in this same situation where the football club is again stuttering in this same period. And this is not a coincidence anymore. As I said, all those adversities we do need to understand. But we are at a particular junction at the moment where we have to stop. As the board, they need to stop. Even if the results go a bit south, which I kind of feel it will, the whole Lukaku situation is scaring me. Matt Law talks about this, that the whole Hakim Ziyech incident with Lukaku, the kerfuffle that they had just before halftime, he doesn't talk about that. He talks about how these two players are apparently very, very close. They're mates, and they could be, plotting against Thomas Tuchel. He goes on to say that these two players, they know that Chelsea Football Club managers don't last. Players last longer than managers. So they're not going to adapt. They're not going to change. They're not going to, adhere to what Thomas Tuchel wants. They'll continue on, and they'll know that some gaffer is going to come in, and maybe they can get the better of it from there, because Ziyech is really a 4-3-3 player. Lukaku is probably, up front with two strikers, much like Lautaro Martinez in a 3-5-2 situation, which is similar to what Belgium does as well. We have to make sure that player power, players don't get the advantage. We have to emulate what City and Liverpool are doing. In order to get long-term success, that's what we're going to have to do. You look at Liverpool now. Salah, Mane gone. It just, their philosophy still continues. Yeah, they may not be as lethal as up front, but the philosophy, the same style of football continues. And yes, this takes time. I understand that. But this is where our board has to give time to Thomas Tuchel, has to allow. We may very well be outside of top four. I have a sick feeling we could be. I hope I'm wrong. What is happening over the last few days, and what I'm hearing internally as well from some of the in the knows, and to be honest, you don't even need to believe some of the internos. You can see it. You can see the vibe of the team. You can feel it. An educated guess will tell you the Lukaku situation has rattled the team. If I was a Chelsea footballer and I saw what Lukaku did and going out there and expressing himself, and if I'm a player that's not getting minutes or I'm getting thrown around in different positions, I'd be starting to talk up a little bit as well. I'd side with Lukaku and I'd create that bad apple environment. I've faced it in my workplace. I kid you not. In my company, we've had bad apples that start talking against the company, and I'll tell you, they don't last long. They go straight away. They get put on a performance review program and they're gone. Because the company cannot afford to have a bad apple. It will ruin the production level. It will ruin the morale. It will ruin everything. If had Lukaku done what he did in City, first of all, City, Pep would never buy a player like Lukaku. It just doesn't fit his profile. So we need to understand what fits our profile. But if Lukaku was in City and he did that, I'm telling you, Pep would not accept that. Thomas Tuchel, I feel like he's handled this situation really well, but at the same time, I think he's pressured by the board. If it was completely his way, I think he would banish Lukaku for a little while and go back to his basics. If we end up sliding below top four and the manager comes under pressure, and the precedents tell us that this is what has happened at Chelsea Football Club previously, we'll suffer again. We'll never be able to catch teams like City and Liverpool. There's a reason why they're so ahead. We need the board to pattern up. We need a scouting team that is able to scout top caliber players. And this is the other thing that I want to talk about. Liverpool going out there, not buying the most glamorous toys. Diego Jota just carried them to a Carabao Cup final now. And he's been banging in goals. He's fit into the whole Klopp situation like a glove. Yet we are throwing money with Lukaku, Timo Werner, Ziyech, Pulisic, not thinking exactly how it's all going to fit in. Now we're thinking about Ousmane Dembele. I know a lot of people will say, well, this is a Thomas Tuchel signing, da-di-da-di-da. I don't know. These are just make-believe. Thomas Tuchel last managed Dembele back in 16-17, 5 years ago. Dembele is not the same Dembele. Injury prone, wage demands, attitude. Look at the way he's handling this whole Barcelona situation. Do we want another player that's going to have these sort of publicity stunts? We have to think. Look, if it is Dembele, it's Dembele. I just want the club to think deeper. Understand what Firstly, understand Thomas Tuchel himself needs to come up with a blueprint. Where is Chelsea Football Club going? How do you want us to play? Wing backs, wide wingers, 4-3-3, pragmatic approach, whatever it is. What is it? Possession-based, counter-attack? Because from there, you can start thinking about, okay, all right, we then need to have a director of football. We then need to have a solid scouting unit who can then understand this blueprint and say, all right, Thomas Tuchel, we understand what you're looking for. We'll go and we'll find out. And it doesn't have to be the most expensive toy out there. This is why I say, what about the players like Jared Bowen in the Premier League in West Ham doing bits? Not just this season, he was great last season as well. Dennis from Watford, Rafinha. If we're thinking about a defender, let's just say for argument's sake, we shouldn't. We've got enough, in terms of Levi Colwell. We've got Jules Koundé that we're linked with. But if we're thinking about a defender, Wolves defender Maximilian Kilman as well. Fantastic left-footed player. We should look within Premier League. There's a lot of talent. You look at the Brighton setup. We should be ashamed as a football club that Brighton are playing so much better football than us this season. How? Brighton should have beaten us both the matches this season in the Premier League. Brighton dominated us. Look at the way they're set up. They don't have the facilities like us, the budget like us. They've got a very good gaffer that has a blueprint, and then they have the scout. How is Brighton's scouting team scouting Cucurella? How are they going and getting Tariq Lamptey, and we can't even convince this particular player to stay with us? How their defenders are still so good with ball playing ability, able to build up from the back, press. How? Some of the names in Brighton, I'll tell you, you probably won't even know by heart. So we have to wake up. We have to wake up as a football club. As I said, I feel like there's a bad vibe going on at the moment with the whole Lukaku situation. And Lukaku knows he's very egotistical. He's very egotistic. Lukaku knows. And if I'm Lukaku, knowing him from what he's done, he'd be hurting inside. He'd be absolutely livid by what has happened, the way the fans have reacted, the way it was so public. He's probably thinking, I didn't do anything wrong. I just went and spoke my mind. What's all the issue? I'm Romelu Lukaku. I say whatever I want to say. You think Lukaku is happy right now? It's not a coincidence that he's gone from playing really well against Aston Villa before the interview, infamous interview, where he was robust against Aston Villa. He was our best attacker against Brighton the first time we played them. And then after the interview, it's a shadow of a player again. It's not a coincidence. Something has happened. And now maybe, I don't know whether he's completely committed to the cause. Thomas Tuchel needs to get to the bottom of this. And this whole Lukaku situation, you think other players that are in the same boat in terms of not getting minutes, getting thrown around in different positions, you think they're not looking and thinking, maybe I don't like the gaffer as well. These things have a domino effect, man. One bad apple, you stick it around with other apple starts getting bad as well. It's the common situation of life. You have a rotten person and you hang around with them long enough, you will turn into a rotten person as well. So we need to cure the virus. And then the board needs to be patient with Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel needs to have a blueprint. We need to have scouts. We need to have director of football that understand the situation in order to catch teams like Liverpool and City. Hell, even Brighton, throw them in the mix. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what your thoughts are about all of this, what I've talked about. We play Liverpool in the Carabao Cup final. I believe it's somewhere during February. I'm excited. But yeah, Spurs up next. I'm a bit weary. After Spurs getting the kind of victory that they got as well, they'll bring the momentum. I'm a bit worried. Let me know what your thoughts are about all of these. If you've enjoyed this video, smash the like button. If you're here for the first time, subscribe. Hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Very close to 10,000. Let's get there ASAP.